Nadhim Zahawi, you are now the Chancellor of the Exchequer. There'll be many people at home wondering why you've decided to take this job. There have been 2 more resignations while you've been doing these morning interviews. It feels like this is a sinking ship.
The important thing to remember is people are struggling. They're struggling with the cost of energy. They're struggling with their household bills. We have a global battle against inflation that's raging not just on our shores, but in Germany, in Canada, in America. We have war on our continent that very few people anticipated. This is not the time to be a divided team. It's the time to focus on delivery for the second half of this parliament. My focus is to rebuild the economy and to grow the economy. We've had reasonable growth this year. We're the second fastest growing economy in the G7. We're predicted to go back to that good growth in 2024, but actually this coming year is going to be tough. We've got to bear down on inflation. And of course, today we've delivered the biggest personal tax cut in the last decade with £330 for 30 million households. I want to make sure that I deliver as part of that team. And of course, if we do this well, and the Prime Minister's absolute focus is delivery, 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 then people can judge us on our outcomes, on what we've delivered for them. We will always be on their side. I think this is not the time to turn in on ourselves. This is the time to unite and to deliver.
You have turned in on yourself. The reality is your predecessor has resigned, the Health Secretary resigned. They are citing the Prime Minister's integrity as the reason why. Why are you still staying? What is different? Why are you right and why are they wrong?
So I have a huge respect for both Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid. My very strong view is that we need to unite and deliver. The Prime Minister yesterday went on air, apologised, explained that with the benefit of hindsight, he made a mistake appointing Chris Pincher to the role of Deputy Chief. I think that is the right thing to do and good leadership. To turn in on ourselves now, in my view, is a mistake. People don't vote for divided teams. Look at who's egging us on. It's people like Alistair Campbell. All I would say to good Conservatives is wherever Alistair Campbell, you will need to be on the other side of that argument.
Are you worried that you may be the shortest reigning Chancellor? Because it's not impossible that the Prime Minister doesn't last till the end of the week if these resignations keep going.
Well, we've got a strong focus in the Treasury on helping people that need that additional help when inflation is raging around the world. This is a global battle against inflation. I've got to have a strategy to make sure that we rebuild the economy. We've come out of a global pandemic. It's like a world war. My focus has to be rebuilding the economy and then returning to growth.
But you may not get a chance to do that. If the Prime Minister doesn't survive until the end of the week, you may not get a chance to do that. Are you worried that he's not going to be able to cling on? There have already been 2 resignations today. We could have dozens by the end of...
Well, what the Prime Minister's focused on is delivery. And I think he's right to focus on that. He's just attended 3 summits in, obviously, the Commonwealth Summit, the NATO Summit and the G7 Summit. We're dealing with war on our continent. We're dealing with a spike in energy prices because of the illegal invasion of Ukraine. These are the important issues that your viewers want to see this Prime Minister focus on. That is what he's focused on. And I think we need now to come together and focus on that delivery because actually, ultimately, people have asked me all morning about the issue of trust. Trust, in my view, is built by delivering. If you deliver as we did on vaccines, if you deliver as we did the help to the Ukraine, if we deliver as we're delivering now with the biggest personal tax cut in 10 years, £330 for 30 million people today, then actually people will judge us on outcomes, on action. And we come away from where we are today, which sadly is not a good place. We are seeing colleagues, good colleagues, leave government. I don't want to see that. I want people to come together.
Trust is also built on telling the truth. And a dozen of your colleagues don't think the Prime Minister has done that. They don't think the Prime Minister will do that. They are questioning his integrity and as a result are now questioning yours because you've taken this role. What would you say to them? Why are you not agreeing with Rishi Sunak, with Sajid Javid and the others who have stepped down and say they can't serve under this Prime Minister?
So I would say a couple of things. One, the Prime Minister last night went on the airwaves and apologised and explained that he made a mistake appointing Chris Pincher. You know, because you've been around politics for quite a while, that we make decisions every day at warp speed as cabinet ministers, even more so as a Prime Minister. We don't get all those decisions right. He didn't get this decision right. He apologised for it. I think that's the right thing to do. I take a different view to my colleagues. I think actually he did the right thing. Sometimes when you make a mistake, you've got to own that mistake. And I think the Prime Minister came out and did that. And I think the nation will not forgive us if we turn in on ourselves and indulge in leadership, speculation or election for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, when we need to focus on bearing down on inflation. We need to focus on helping those people who are struggling with their weekly shop, with their utility bills. That is why I want to focus to make sure that we rebuild the economy and we grow the economy.
Talk us through the choreography of last night, because people are going to be wondering what happens. We saw you walk in to number 10, you were there for about an hour or so, and you come out as Chancellor. What are you saying to the Prime Minister? What's the conversation you're having there? Did you threaten to quit? There are reports that suggest that you said you'd walk away if you didn't get this job. What's that conversation actually like?
So I didn't threaten to quit. We spent that hour talking about how we're going to rebuild the economy, how we're going to share the evidence with the nation, how we're going to return to growth of the economy, how we're going to bear down on inflation and deliver the first, I hope, and probably the biggest personal tax cut in a decade, which is delivered today. How can we go further? How can I make sure that I review everything we're doing in the Treasury to make sure that we are on people's sides all the time, whilst maintaining fiscal discipline and bearing down on inflation? That was the discussion last night. He is totally focused. I'd say to you, it's 3 words: delivery, delivery, delivery. That is what he's focused on.
We're going through this cost of living crisis. You've now inherited an incredibly serious situation where people are struggling around the country. How different are you going to be to Rishi Sunak in addressing this?
So I think Rishi Sunak did an incredible job. He's just delivered 37 billion of help over the next 12 months. This personal tax cut for 30 million people, the £330 today, is part of that strategy. I will look and review everything, and because I've said it to you before, I am the evidence-led Chancellor. I was the evidence-led Secretary of State in Education. I was the evidence-led Vaccines Minister. And I want to do 2 things: rebuild the economy, because we've just come out of a global pandemic, and grow the economy. That is my priority, and it's my first day in the job. I want to make sure it would be prudent to make sure I review everything, look at the evidence, and very happy to come back on your programme and share it.
As Education Secretary, you were pushing for a pay rise for teachers. You're now in a position to enact that. Are you going to?
So we made a promise at the manifesto that we would raise the starting salary of teachers to £30,000. The submission I made to the pay review body is we need to do that with a 9% pay rise for new teachers this year and 7.7% next year. That is within my spending envelope. That's the right thing to do. And I'm asking more senior teachers. My submission to the pay review body is 5% over 2 years. I will look at the evidence from the pay review bodies across departments, and we will then make a decision collectively as a cabinet. The important thing to remember is if we let inflation get out of control, it will harm the very same people we're trying to help, those who are really struggling with the weekly shop. And that's what I have to be focused on. Fiscal discipline is important.
Last question. The Prime Minister looks like he's going to cling on. We're expecting more resignations throughout the course of the day. Some of your colleagues are talking about changing the rules at the 1922 committee to have another vote of no confidence. How can you be confident that you are still going to be in the job you're in now come the end of the summer?
So I'm a Democrat. I came from a country that was led by a dictator and a despot in Saddam Hussein. I believe in our precious democracy, and our party has its rules. The Prime Minister has won the vote of confidence. I think it's only right that he's then allowed the space to deliver the second half of this Parliament, delivery. And I don't think the rules should be changed as people didn't like the outcome.
Brilliant. Nadhim Zahawi, thank you very much for your time.